I fell in love with my best friend's dad. A guy that I've been dating for 8 months has just told me he has a kid, and before I knew this, he told me it was his brother. I slept with this guy and his best friend within hours of each other. Should I tell them or not? Baby, won't you be mine? Do I still remember how to do this? We'll find out. Hey guys, what's up? It's Savannah. Welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another video. As you guys can tell by the title, today we are hitting it back with another heartbreak pep talk. What would Sav do? I can't seem to get my life together, so I'm gonna see if I can help you in yours. I asked you guys on Instagram to send in your what would Sav do heartbreak pep talk questions, topics, all of those things. If you don't follow me on Instagram, what are you doing? I'm just gonna pop it up right here. I probably will forget it, but it's just at Savannah Brimer. It's always in the description and you can go check it out for yourself. But we are just going to be running through the questions and topics that you guys wanted to know. Let's just jump right on into it. Dealing with a guy of 4 years, or dealing with a guy for 4 years who doesn't know what he wants, but wants to date, but doesn't want a girlfriend. Okay, I think he knows exactly what he wants. I think he wants to date, but doesn't want a girlfriend. So here's the thing. Here's what I've learned over my course of dating. People are very, very clear with their intentions. You just have to read between the lines a little bit. I do think that you kind of have to ask yourself, are you okay with dating him but not being his girlfriend? 4 years is a long freaking time. And you just have to ask yourself, like, what are you really waiting for? Like, are you waiting for the guy of 4 years to come around and want to date you and have you be his girlfriend? Or are you okay with kind of just messing around with him until you find someone else and not completely closing yourself off to that option? I think as long as you're not like solely, I mean, like, here's the thing, I would cut it. What would Sav do? Sav would cut it. I think 4 years is a little ridiculous. However, if you're like, I'm not ready to do that, then you have to make the conscious decision in your mind that you're gonna be okay with the fact that they're gonna be dating other people, you're gonna be dating other people. Maybe you come up with some boundary, I don't know. Like, what are we waiting for? Like, literally, what are we waiting for? My ex-boyfriend photoshopped another girl on top of me in the picture that he posted. I think that that is so ridiculously immature. I actually can't believe that, and it's quite comical. I'm sure it wasn't very comical in your situation, and I don't mean to make light of it or make fun of it. However, that's a new level of low. I think you should just kind of be happy that you have that much of an effect on someone to the point where they literally took the time to Photoshop another girl in place of you. Like, that's a good effect to have on someone. Just be happy for it. My long distance relationship boyfriend has a girlfriend that calls him more than I do. It didn't bother me at first, but it's starting to. This is why communication, especially in long distance relationships, is so important, is because you need to be on the same page at all times. Granted, you should be on the same page with your partner at all times, even when you're not in a long distance relationship. However, especially in a long distance relationship. But you could just say, you know what, sometimes it just feels like you want to talk to your friends more than you want to talk to me. And if he's like, well, give me an example, then you could be like, well, this particular girl calls you a bunch, and I feel like sometimes you want to talk to her more than you want to talk to me. I wouldn't necessarily dive in with the why do you have girlfriends and like I don't want you to have girlfriends that you talk to. You start with a general blanket statement and then you move deeper into that by being like, for example, this I have a problem with. I think you're gonna be good. My best friend slept with the guy that I liked and the guy that I had been ranting to and telling her all about. Oh, have I been there? Luckily for me in my situation, I was no longer friends with the girl when this happened to me, so I didn't really have to deal with confronting her about it. However, I know that feeling. First of all, that's not your friend. Let's just make that very clear. I think a couple things here. I think that it's girl code. I mean, obviously, no one has claim over anyone. However, when you are in a situation where that's like your best friend, there's a certain line that you don't cross. And somehow in our society, this line gets extremely blurred. And somehow people act like they don't have eyes to see this line. It's very interesting how that works. What I would do is I would cut both of them off. I would cut the guy off and I would cut your friend off, because the guy knew what he was doing when he did it. Your best friend, I'd cut her off. And I am all for second chances. I'm all for giving a fair chance again. However, I think that there is a line, and I think that that crosses it. Do you know how many guys are out there that are so easy to hook up with? Like, so easy. So why go for that one? Like, why? What's the point? I fell in love with my best friend's dad. Oh. Why? Why do you guys do this? If you fall in love with your best friend's dad, you have to find a way to fall out of love with your best friend's dad. Like, if I can stop you from acting on hooking up with your friend's dad, don't do that. There are so many guys out there that are so easily attainable. It's quite mind-blowing when you really think about it. Let's not go for your friend's dad. That is going to cause problems. I promise you, it's not going to do you any good. Let's don't do it. What's something that you did that changed your whole life? Self-love focused. I love that question. Something that I did that changed my whole life. I would say it's something that I'm still learning, and that is that you have to have patience and that you have to trust the process. And the reason that that is self-love based for me is because if I don't do that, I genuinely will drive myself insane, and I don't mean that lightly. Like, I've talked about this before, I'm the biggest overthinker I know. I have terrible anxiety, and if I don't believe that everything's gonna happen the way it's supposed to, if I don't trust the process, I have 32 on my wrist for the reason being that it means in angel numbers that everything happens for a reason, trust the process, and it's all gonna be okay, essentially. If I don't do that, then I will not be okay. Another thing that I've done a lot is I've noticed that I love being by myself, and I've always known that about myself. I've always, in my family, it's the running joke that Savannah never likes to socialize, Savannah never likes to go out. It's like the running joke in my family. However, I've gotten to the point where, you know, I have my group of friends, we go out, we have fun, but self-love based, I would say, I recognize when I need to be alone, and I allow myself the time to do that, and I don't push myself or pressure myself. I think a lot of times in my life I've forced myself to work, and I've forced myself to, you know, sit in front of a camera and do this when it didn't feel natural, it didn't feel normal. And quite honestly, that's why for a long time I've been taking these breaks and hiatuses off of YouTube lifestyle videos, because I just don't want to push myself anymore. And so when I notice that I need a break, I take one, whether that's for an hour or whether that's for 2 hours, 3 hours, whether that's for 3 weeks. I allow myself to take those breaks, because again, if I don't, I'm going to burn myself out and it will not be good. So those are things that I'm working on, and those are things that as I get older, like I said, I'm 24, I really am trying to focus on. And also not being afraid to speak my mind. I think that for a long time I've been so worried, not necessarily about confrontation, but just about opinions and hurting people's feelings and what are they gonna think about me and blah, blah, blah. And for so long, I was the opposite of that. Like all through high school, I was not like that. I didn't care what I said to who. And I think within the past, like I would say probably 2 years ago, that started to change. And then recently, within the past year, I've been really trying to start to ask for what I want and demand certain things and demand respect and have expectations and have standards and things like that. Those are also big parts of self-love, because if I don't have that, if I don't hold people to a certain standard, and if I don't hold them accountable to be in my life, then what's the point? I don't allow people in my life anymore that don't bring me any peace of mind. And it definitely takes a while sometimes to get there and to understand that this isn't what's best for me. However, I'm learning that, you know, not everyone needs to be in your life. Not everyone deserves to be your priority. So I just threw a lot at you, but yes, that's my answer. When's the right time to ask, what are we, if we're both only talking to each other? Clearly, if you're both only talking to each other, you've both established, or have you not established and you're just assuming? Because if you're just assuming that you both are talking to each other, you need to clarify that. Trust me, clarify that you are both just talking to each other. And you can say it in a way of like, listen, okay, toxic tip, like here's the toxic tip, and then I'll give you the healthy tip. Toxic tip, you could just be like, oh my God, like this guy at a bar or at school or college, wherever you are, just be like, oh my God, this guy asked me out on a date. And see what he says, see how he reacts. Kind of continue on that path, because then you could be like, oh, I don't know, should I go or should I not? Like you could be like, quite honestly, I don't really even know where we stand. So if we are only seeing each other, then I'm gonna tell him no. But if you're seeing other people, then I probably will tell him yes and I'll go. Even though there is no date, there doesn't even have to be a date. You can make a date up. I totally understand the fear in asking, what are we? I think that that is a very daunting question. However, the healthy tip that I would give you is, if you want to sit down with them in a calm setting, you really have to be able to understand that this could go either way. This could either end with you guys saying, you know what, yeah, we're exclusive, or this could end with you guys being like, or with him being like, I'm talking to like 6 other girls, like what are you talking about? So you gotta kind of expect both. However, if you wanted to be mature about it, you just have to sit down and just say, listen, I know we've never really talked about this before, but it is something that's been kind of on my mind recently, and I am someone who doesn't like to date around. I like to talk to only one person at a time, and if that's you, then that's great. However, if you're not on the same page, I want you to tell me, because then I don't want to be wasting my time. And what you don't want to do is be like, well, what are you thinking? What are you feeling? Like, what are we? You don't ask them. You tell them where you're at and what you want, and if they can't match up to that, then that's their own deal and that's their own fault. And then you from there can decide, okay, yeah, sure, I'll continue on whatever we're doing here and just hope for the best. Or you can decide, you know, I don't want to waste my time anymore, and you just move on. This is all assuming that you guys haven't decided that you are exclusive with each other and only talking with each other. If you guys have already decided that, then you should have no problem just being like, listen, I know we said we're exclusive and I know we only said we're talking to each other, but to me, like, I need some more clarity on what that means, because I don't really know what the boundaries are in this. And if we are gonna do this, I think we should just do it. And if not, then I think we need to reevaluate what we're doing here. We take no shit in 2021, okay? I'm gaining a lot of weight and I'm super insecure about it. I have no motivation to work out. Help. I think, you know, and I'm sure you've heard this a million times, quarantine has been a shit show for everyone. I don't know about you, but I think in seeing, you know, social media, which first of all, social media is such a facade. From someone who was in on social media, let me tell you how fake it is. It is absolutely ridiculous how fake social media is. No one is as happy as they seem on social media. I can promise you that. Everyone has their bad days. Everyone is insecure. Everyone is feeling like they're in a competition, and it's ridiculous. That's why I've tried to step away from it. However, what I do think is important for me to tell you is to not be so hard on yourself. Your weight does not define you, and I think that is so important to recognize, because I think it's a society in this social media world that we live in. It's very easy to associate weight and like fitness and things like that and how your body looks and body image with happiness. Like, oh, she's thin, she must be happier. Oh, she's, you know, posting a bikini picture, she must be happy. Trust me, that's not the case. And I think it's important to recognize that your happiness comes from within you. If you decide, and let me say that as an if you want to, because you don't have to. You really, really don't. However, if you decide that you want to kind of start going to the gym more, start eating healthier, start doing things like that to help just lose weight, if that's what your goal is, then I would say to kind of turn it into a lifestyle and not for anyone else but yourself. You're saying that you have no confidence and you have no motivation. That's your motivation, is to gain your confidence back. Now, whether that is through making healthy lifestyle changes or whether that's accepting the body that you have right now, because I think you should be confident either way. I don't think just because you've gained weight, you should not be confident in yourself at all. And if you decide that you do want to lose weight, it should be for you and for you only. It is very, very difficult in the world that we live in to feel confident in, like, it's hard because there is so much body positivity, but there's not. It's like the weirdest trade-off right now that I feel like we live in, because everyone's like, oh, be confident, and then people are just tearing other people down. It's very, very twisted in my mind. You are beautiful no matter what the scale says, no matter where you stand on a fitness journey, if there even is one. It doesn't have to exist if you don't want it to. Just know that you are not defined by your weight. You are so much more than your weight, and you are beautiful regardless, and you are so special regardless. And from someone who has struggled a lot over the years with, trigger warning right now, I'm just gonna trigger warning this so you can have 3 seconds to get off and go forward. Okay. From someone who has struggled with things like eating disorders and body dysmorphia and things like that, I know how difficult it is. However, I think it's just really important to remind yourself that you are still the same soul no matter what your body looks like, and you have one body and you should love it. Just know you are not defined by your weight and by your body and things like that. There's so many more important parts about you than that. Would you tell someone's girlfriend about what he did to you in high school? He sent my nudes to people. Okay, so this is very circumstantial, I feel like. I think if she came to you and said, hey, what do you know about my boyfriend? Or hey, is there something I should know? Then you can tell her. Do I think you should go out of your way to tell her like, hey, listen, your boyfriend did this to me in high school? I wouldn't. Personally, that's just my own thing. I just don't think it's necessary. And I just think it's gonna start more problems than fix any. And I know you might feel like, well, I want to tell her because I want to warn her. I have dated a lot of people who have done a lot of shitty things, but like once you kind of close that door, you just leave it shut. Like don't get yourself involved in that drama. You don't need that. No. I can't stop comparing myself to another girl. Okay. Here's what we have to remember. No one else, I said this, I've given this speech so many times on this channel, but I will give it again. No one is you, and that is the greatest power you could ever have, no matter who you are looking at on social media, or whether it's someone you know, someone in your town, someone at your school. No one is you, and that is your greatest power. And I promise you, if you have that mindset, that you're gonna stop comparing yourself to other people. Because I know personally for me, I used to compare myself to a lot of people. And then I kind of realized, I don't want to be anyone else. There's actually this quote, and it was like, respectfully, you can never be me, and disrespectfully, I would never want to be you. And while that does kind of sting a little bit, just have that mindset. Confidence is one of those things where it's like fake it till you make it. Someone asked Rihanna in an interview one time, like, what do you do on the days where you just don't feel like yourself or don't feel confident? She's like, I fake it till I make it. Like I make it look like I'm confident. And sometimes that really is all it takes. But what you do need to remember is everyone fights their own battles that we know nothing about. And so just because you're looking at someone thinking they have it all together, I promise you they don't. And it's very, very easy. I see it in my life a lot when I post, you know, pictures or stories or whatever, or videos, and a lot of you are like, oh my God, like I want to be you, or oh my God, I wish I could be you. And it's like, trust me, no you don't. You know, I'm very blessed and I'm very grateful for the life that I have. However, I have a lot of shit going on that I don't share, and I have a lot of things that I don't talk about, because everyone likes to portray that they're this great person, that they live this fantastic life, but everyone's got a battle that no one knows anything about. So just remember that, and just remember, you are you for a reason, you're here for a reason, and you shouldn't let anyone change that perspective. And no one is you, and that is your greatest power. How do you tell your boyfriend you slept with one of your friends right before your relationship? One of your friends or one of his friends? I don't think you have to tell them that you slept with one of your friends. I think it's different if it's one of their friends. If we're being oh so honest, I have definitely been in situations where I have hooked up with my friends, and it's what it is. And I don't think it's anyone's business to know that unless I'm asked. If no one is blatantly coming out and asking me like, did you hook up with so-and-so? You don't really need to know, because it's in the past. If there's someone that comes around a lot, and there's someone that's kind of always there, and like we hang out in groups a lot, then maybe it's a different story. However, if it's a thing where you see them every once in a while or whatever, I don't necessarily think, is that bad? Is that bad that I think that? Is it bad that I don't say anything? I don't know. Yeah, I just don't think you have to tell anyone that. That's your business, it's your past, it's your life. However, if you want to tell them, totally fine. You can totally say it and just be like, listen, I don't want you to feel like you're in the dark on this, so I just want you to have the full story. Ricky and I did hook up at one point in the past, and we've just decided it was like a one-time thing, or it was, you can just say it was a one-time thing, but if you want to be completely honest and it wasn't a one-time thing, you can say that too. You could be like, it happened a couple times, but it was just in the past and in that moment, and we just decided that we're way better as friends. None of those feelings are still there, but because we do hang out in a group, or because you do see him sometimes, I do want you to know that that did happen, but it was at a totally different phase of my life, and I'm so much happier here now with you. That was good, Savannah. Go you. A guy that I've been dating for 8 months has just told me he has a kid, and before I knew this, he told me it was his brother, but now he's saying it's his kid. What? How do you get away with for 8 months just pretending? I mean, I'm sure he just said it was his kid, or I'm sure he said it was his brother just because he didn't know how you would react to him saying he had a kid, but to go around and just saying it's your brother, that's very, very bizarre. I don't think I could continue dating someone not because they had a kid. That doesn't bother me. It is the fact that they told me the kid was their brother for 8 months. So based off of that, I don't think I could continue the relationship. So that's what I would do. I couldn't date someone that told me that their kid was their brother. I'm sorry, I can't do it. I'm sorry. This guy is messaging me and talking to me like I'm his girlfriend, but only messages me past 10 p.m. They're texting you late at night, acting like they like you. you because it's late at night and they're you know why. Come on. You know why they're texting you at 10 p.m. or later. That's the only time they reach out to you. It's very, very, very simple. We're not engaging in this kind of behavior anymore, all right? We're not doing it. We're not engaging. Why are we doing? Let me just make this so clear. You deserve someone who wants to talk to you at all hours of the day, not just after 10 o'clock p.m. And if someone is talking to you at 10 o'clock p.m., back off. Only after 10 o'clock p.m. I have this strict rule where if anyone messages me after 8 o'clock, I don't respond, because you're not just going to treat me like an afterthought. And it is very clear to me why he is only texting you past 10 o'clock p.m. And that is because what do people usually do in the late night hours? They don't go to lunch. No, they don't. There's only one thing on that boy's mind, I promise you, past 10 o'clock p.m. I can't say it, I'll get demonetized. You know what I'm saying and you know what I'm thinking. So my advice is to cut it. Unless you want a friends with benefits. If that's what you want, go for it. How to stop self-sabotaging and letting the fear of getting hurt in relationships get to you. Okay, I am the queen of self-sabotage. I am so guilty of self-sabotaging, and it has really affected my relationships and the way I approach relationships, because I go into it with the fear that everyone is going to leave or hurt me, or that's kind of just my mindset with it. And in the beginning, it's not like that. In the beginning, I have a lot of hope, and then once that kind of hope sinks in a little bit, it then becomes fear. My hope turns to fear, and my fear of getting hurt comes into play, and because of that, I then will either act out, or I will push buttons and push boundaries, or I'll say terrible things just because I fear the worst. Always. When I don't hear from them, I fear the worst. I'm a crazy overthinker. I'm a crazy self-sabotager, and it's due to my past relationships. We don't need to be in a therapy session, but clearly I just feel like telling you this. I'm still learning how to stop self-sabotaging, and it's really a difficult learning process, because what I'm learning, and this is what's really hard, is after dating so many bad people, like dating people that have truthfully done their number on me, it's been really hard once you find someone decent to just assume that they're a decent person. And it's honestly even harder when they're a decent person, because you don't believe a single word that comes out of their mouth. So how to stop self-sabotaging? I think you really, and I talked about this in the self-love comment or question, is you just have to have a little bit more faith. You have to have a little bit more faith in yourself that you are picking the right person. You have to have a little bit more faith in the person that you're talking to. If someone has not shown you any reason to worry or show you any reason to not trust them, you got to give them a little bit more credit. And you just have to have faith that everything's going to work out. This honestly makes me like, it gets me emotional. I know how hard it is to not self-sabotage. It's the easy way out. Self-sabotaging is the easy way out. But trust me when I say, you're gonna be so, this is kind of what I've learned, is instead of self-sabotaging, I like to kind of now give my all. Not immediately, and I definitely have my trust issues, my abandonment issues, and blah, blah, blah. I think it's important to have a little faith in the process, because I would so much rather go through this process being like, you know what, I gave it my all, and not sit there and be like, oh, well, I played all these games, and I pushed all these buttons, and I did this, and I one-upped them there, and be content in knowing I gave it my all, and I was a good person, and I had good intentions. Because at the end of the day, the fear of getting hurt, everyone is afraid of getting, no one wants to get hurt. No one wants to get hurt, no one wants to be rejected, no one wants any of that. However, it's natural, it's a part of life, and you cannot avoid it. What are you gonna do? Are you gonna avoid it so hard that you're gonna self-sabotage every relationship that you're in, and then that's just gonna end with you ending every relationship that you're in? Or are you going to want to give it your all and just have faith in the process while still being cautious, but still, you know, having a little bit more faith and not self-sabotaging and walking away from a situation? If it ends, I did the best that I could, and I'm not sitting here regretting, oh, I wish I said that, and I wish I did this, and I wish he knew that I liked him a little more, or she knew that I liked her a little more. You don't want to do that. The fear of getting hurt is inevitable, and it sucks. Obviously, you want to prevent it as much as possible. You don't need to self-sabotage everything. Not everything needs to be self-sabotaged. We've talked about this before, because I'm using all of these examples in terms of like, assuming that these people are decent that we're talking to. Because if it's a fuckboy, I've told this before, if it looks like a duck, it walks like a duck, it talks like a duck, it's a duck. Looks like one, talks like one, walks like one, it's a fuckboy, you know. And if that's the case, then we'll do a whole different video on how to play the game, because we can play the game. However, I think we need to stop doing that as a society because universally it's fucking us all over. Because think about it, the fear of getting hurt and the fear of rejection and all of that, I know personally the amount of times I've gotten hurt from relationships is, you know, unmeasurable. However, I'm still here and I'm still okay. You're gonna be okay no matter what. And I think we get into this cycle and this freak out mode of like, oh my God, if this doesn't work out, I'm not gonna be okay. What am I gonna do? Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. We gotta remember, you're gonna be good. How much have you gone through up until this point? You're still good. You're gonna be good. You were fine before them, you'll be fine after that. I slept with this guy and his best friend within hours of each other. Should I tell them or not? All right, this is why I love you guys. I wouldn't. They're gonna tell each other. Like, they literally will tell each other. Like, what? Unless you're dating one of them, which that's a different conversation, but I wouldn't. They're gonna find out. They're gonna tell each other. He's gonna be like, oh dude, I hooked up with so-and-so. And then he's gonna be like, wait dude, I hooked up with so-and-so. And then they're gonna be like, when? And then he's gonna find out. And then you're just, there's no point. There's no point in telling them. It's like your own little secret. Like, haha. Haha, I know this and you don't. What do you think of being friends with benefits with an ex? Okay, no. This is going to cause way more issues. It's hard to be friends with benefits with anyone in general without catching feelings. Being friends with benefits with an ex, why? I've said it before, I'll say it again. There are so many people out there to hook up with. And if that's just what you're looking for, go get it with someone that you don't have feelings for. It's just gonna make things messy. Like, why are we being messy? Breakups are always messy. And then like to try and like intertwine that back, like, no, we're not doing that. I'm sorry. That's my final answer. Should I lose my virginity to my friends with benefits / friend? I did that. And I have a story time about it. It's on here somewhere. It's called like my first time never really happened or something. But I lost my virginity to my friends with benefits. He was one of my best friends and I don't regret it at all. I mean, it just depends. If this is something that means a lot to you and you want it to be with the right person, then wait. There's no rush. However, if you're like me and you're just someone that wanted to get it over with and didn't really care, then go for it. Obviously, I think it would be best if that person knew that it was your first time. That way you're going into it on the same page. But if you want to do it with your friends with benefits, if that's what you want, then go for it. How to get rid of a fuckboy. Again, I think that this is going to fall into a different category, which is how to play the game. I can make a whole video on how to play the game, but I'm trying to be healthy for you guys and I'm trying to give you good advice and not game advice. Because I feel like, again, as a society, we are all screwing each other over because we keep playing this stupid game and it needs to stop. How to get rid of a fuckboy? You cut him off. You literally just cut them off. It's that simple. You stop talking to them and you pretend that they don't exist. Have a little mini funeral for them in your brain and they don't exist anymore. Delete their contact, block their number, unfollow them, stop checking in on them. They don't exist. They do not exist in your mind anymore. That's what you do. All right, you guys, that was the end of this video. I'm sorry it was long, but I've been gone for a while, so we had a lot to catch up on. And I missed you so much, and I'm so happy to be back, and I love you. If you're new here, hi, my name is Savannah. I make videos a couple times a week. You should subscribe and join the family. I love you guys so much, and I'll be back in a couple days with a brand new one. Bye, guys.